Well, on August 29th, 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit my town and the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It was a little more than just rising tide. It was about 34 feet of sea that absolutely almost annihilated our town. We had almost 2,500 homes in the town. 300 were livable the day after the hurricane. We lost every school, every church, and every public building. And from that day forward, we proceeded. It took us a year just to get the debris out. Just to get debris out, 1.5 million cubic yards of debris in a 6 square mile area town. So over the previous 10 years up until now, we have been slowly coming back. Oh my God, they're not right. 10 years right now, it's normal. But what we've lost, we had the second largest collection of antebellum homes. That's gone. You can't ever get that back. Although they building houses back, and we make them build historical looking, but like that. But we went from 6,800 people down. We got down to about 900 people living in trailers and stuff. You watch that stuff on TV in the Middle East. Most people are like, "Why in the hell would you live there?" And then this happens to you, and that human instinct is powerful. We had a hurricane 36 years before that, what we thought was the worst. So they're resilient and they're tough. So the federal government did an outstanding job. I mean, they brought in everything we have down there is new infrastructure, new buildings and everything. We just don't have as much, and I don't know if or when we will ever have as many. We now have about 5,000 people, which from where we were is about 1,800 short. But every town's missing about 20% because of the restrictions that are built, the way you have to build now, and the insurance costs. It's just prohibitive. It's enormous because everybody is impacted by the sea, whether it's the Atlantic or the Gulf of Mexico where we are. You've got a tremendous amount of states. You don't even really realize it until you get in here, from Maine all the way down to Florida, and then from Florida all the way over to Texas. So you covering a pretty good bit of the United States right there. So, and everybody's got the same problems, but a little different. So it really has been unique and very informative. You're going to have people live around water, no matter what you tell them. Now, where we are, since everything was totally destroyed, we've had to build back to the new standards, which are they're totally different than we were before, so you can live with that. But something's got to be done so that the people can ensure their investment. That's got to happen, or we spent 10 years building back a whole coast down there in Mississippi and Louisiana that really would have been for naught if we don't keep the people in there. And they're going to water. Look, water sells. That's just a fact, no matter where it is. Everybody lives on water, and they know that when you live by the water, you can die by the water. But the problem is that you never expect something like Katrina. That is hopefully a 500-year storm, because it was just enormous. Hurricane Camille, I was 20 years old when that hit in 1969, and that was a 200-mile-an-hour wind, but was for 2 hours, and it did damage and was out of there. Well, this one was a 135-mile-an-hour wind for 9 hours, which did more damage than the 2 hour with the 200-mile-an-hour wind. So, and of course, more water came, and the seas, are they rising? Probably so, without question. There are some changes. There's more people in the world. People are building here and there and everywhere. So I don't have the answers to this stuff. I just abide by the rules that they give us. And once again, the federal government and the American taxpayers were so good to us. And we do have stricter rules probably than anybody else, because everything was gone. So to build back, we got a church down there, Episcopal Church. It's 166 years old, beautiful church, and it survived the shell of it, and they're closer to God now than they ever were, because they're 18 feet and they're higher than they were before. They just raised that building up and then put it back where it looked like it did before, but everything is up. Everything is up. We're on the coast, and my town is the smallest town on the coast. It's 6 miles long and 1 mile wide. It's a 316-year-old town that has more history than any town down there. We have the very rich, and we have the poor, and we have one of the few working harbors left where people still make their living out at sea, with shrimping and oystering, fishing, stuff like that. So at that harbor right now, they speak Spanish, French, and Vietnamese and English. The French is kind of dying out. That used to be the one to do it. But Spanish and the Vietnamese and English is 3 native languages that are just every day down there. So though the smallest town, we're probably the most cosmopolitan town. No, the federal government, I say, they did their job. Now, the thing is that what we had to learn to do to be in compliance was the size of a NFL playbook. You know, there's a lot of. That's the hardest part about my job, is trying to convey to the public how we have to go back with the money that they give us, how you do it. You know, they don't give you a check. They approve you after a lengthy part where you do the environmentals and all the stuff, and then it's reimbursable. So you fill out a form to do it. If you mess something up, they'll kick that back, and you get a little town like we were, you'd have $600,000-700,000 sometimes a week going out of a small town, and you're footing the bill for that till you get reimbursed. But you know, it's finally 10 years later, we're all even, and say everything we got's better than we had before. We just don't have as much of it, and I don't know if or when that would ever be. And that's just people. They are coming back slowly. They are slowly coming back. We need 40 years with no hurricanes, what we need. I'd like to thank all of the Rising Tide people for putting this on. It was a class act. They did class presentation, and it just reminded us of the biggest lesson we learned from Katrina. Most of us had never left that little area down there, other maybe go to the Florida Panhandle or go swimming, or once in a while go maybe to Texas over to Houston or something. But the hurricane taught us just how good the American people are, from places that we never, we knew what they were on a map but never been to. And that's the same thing with this. You get to meet these people that are the ones that put it on, the ones that are attending from the Carolinas and Florida and all that. So that part right there is another experience that we've already met, to just see how good the American people are. They are the best. That is, we wouldn't even have the conversation without the American taxpayers, I can tell you, and the American volunteers.